Good morning, Unity of Walnut Creek. Beautiful to see you all. Be here with you energetically and electronically. How's everybody doing? We've got the sounds of joy today. Yes. And we've got a song to remind us that if we set our mind in the right place, nothing's going to turn us around. So stand up, put on your mask if you want to sing. Join us. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land. Ain't gonna let my fears turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let my fears turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep marching on the freedom land. Ain't gonna let my anger turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let my anger turn me round. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on the freedom land. Take it up. Ain't gonna let my judgment turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let my judgment turn me round. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on the freedom land. Ain't gonna let my sorrow turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let my sorrow turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on the freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on to freedom land.
Well, that's the way to start a service, isn't it? Good morning. My name is Susan. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. Please join us in turning to the camera. And welcome to folks at home. Your presence adds to our spiritual community. Thank you for joining us. Please join me in welcoming back our guest musicians, Sounds of Joy. That is Deborah Tisdale, Terry Stanley, and Martha Mangle. We are also delighted to have you back today. Start again. We are delighted to have you back today after a pandemic long. It's really early. Sounds of Joy are joined by Patrick on keyboards, Joey on bass, Dan on drums. Lisa is our Unity song leader today. And as a side note, this is Patrick's first time playing at Unity, so welcome. And thank you all for sharing your music today. Reverend Larry Schneider will deliver today's message. It's entitled, Overcoming the Trolls Under the Bridge. I don't need to say another word, do I? Before we begin, please turn your phones to silent so that we can enjoy this sacred service together. Let's take a moment to be grateful for the land our center rests upon. This is Ohlone, Bay-Miwok, and Yukot's land. We honor its ancestry, and we are grateful for those who came before us. We commit to the care of these sacred native grounds and Mother Earth. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Our vision for the world is we envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness. Our mission is who we have come here to be. Let's say this together. We are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. And our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom. If you are with us for the first time, welcome. If you're comfortable, raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you. Thank you. Welcome. If you visit our bookstore across the patio, we will have a welcome packet and a gift for you. We hope you'll choose to stay and talk to a few of us after the service. Connection cards are available in the newcomer packets and in the seat pockets in front of you. These are for everyone. With this card, you may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week. You may also share feedback or request information. Please place the card in the basket along with the offering. For those of you who are viewing online, connection cards are available on the Watch Live page on our website. Please consider comfort levels if hugging one another before services. We welcome you to socialize on the patio after services or visit our bookstore. Our campus is open for online classes and groups. Masking is optional, although we recommend masking indoors, and it's very important to mask while singing. We have several activities to highlight this week. Andrea Starn is back by popular demand to teach a new class called Heart Practices for Challenging Times. This online class will train your heart to remain kind, joyful, and balanced towards all beings, including ourselves. It's designed for beginners and also suitable for those who just want to refine their practice. Join forces with the entire Unity worldwide movement in prayer and inspiration for the World Day of Prayer. This year's theme is Holding the High Watch. Join Reverend Kristen and the prayer chaplains on Thursday, September 8th at 7 p.m. for a special prayer service. This service will include sacred music, meditation, and prayer. Together, we will play with elevated minds and open hearts. And I have a news flash. We have a surprise visit from Daniel Namod in just 2 weeks. Our beloved Daniel will provide all the music for our Sunday services and then stay for an intimate concert at 2 p.m. So mark your calendars and get details in a flyer from Lisa or Tyler on the patio. And now I'd like to invite Reverend Larry Schneider to the platform so he can tell us about his class that starts tomorrow.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the title of the class is The Art and Science of Metanoia, and it all has to do with just simply changing your mind, being able to turn our minds away from one thing and turn them towards spirit. And basically, it involves overcoming the trolls, which we have put in our own minds. And the class is all about simple techniques, very, very simple techniques, at how to have that troll release us, let us go to a much higher level. And I hope to see a lot of you in that class. Thank you.
Please pick up flyers on the patio and register for events in our bookstore. You can also see our website for a full listing and login information. As we prepare for our time of meditation, please join me in taking a conscious breath and affirming our statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. We will begin with music, followed by guided meditation and silence.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, sanctuary for you.
And now let's relax. In just a moment, let's take a deep breath and let it out very slowly. And let's take one more deep breath. And as we let it out, let's sink deep into that still and silent place within ourselves. That place where we shut out all the outside, the visions, the sounds. And what we do is we create a space so that we can hear that whisper, that still small voice of our divine self. And now we create that space and we wait and we listen in the silence. And now we're going to return from that beautiful sacred silence very slowly. Once again, taking a deep breath, letting it out slowly. One more deep breath. And as you let the breath out, I invite you to open your eyes and be present. But knowing that at any time you choose, you can go back to that very beautiful, quiet, sacred space. And so it is.
Prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. In my pain, deep inside my weakness, is the seed of something greater in me. And the shame of not choosing higher, and all the disappointing moments fade into God. No mistakes have been made in God. All the ways that we seem to fail in God all fade. All fades into God. No choice, a prisoner of anguish, in a jail of I'm so lonely, a jail of all is lost. But the stars are shining to remind us a seed will need the darkness to change into new life. No mistakes have been made in God. All the ways that we seem to fail in God all fade. It all fades into God. Is the gravity that holds me together. In God is the orbit in which I am spinning. I see the stars and I remember to remember. Inside my pain is the seed of my strength. In God is the gravity that holds me together. In God is the orbit in which I am spinning. I see the stars and I remember to remember. Inside my pain is the seed of my strength. God is my life. In God is such excellence. All the ways that we seem to fail in God all fade. It all fades into God. No mistakes have been made in God. All the ways that we seem to fail in God all fade. into God. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That's even more powerful than the first service. Bless your heart. You guys are good. Thank you. Wow. Oh, well, it is a delight to be back. It's been about, 4 or 5 years, I think, since I was here. And I am delighted to be back. I'm thrilled that Kristen kept pushing. By the way, Kristen and I were classmates at Unity Village. So, and she's been trying to get me back over here, but the first time she called and she said, "Can you come over?" It was 4 or 5 years ago, and we had about 6 feet of snow on the highway. Because I'm from Nevada, and I've got to come across the mountains. And I said, "Well, unless you're going to fly me over there, I can't come." And the next 2 times, I had other engagements. And then finally, ta-da! It is wonderful to see some familiar faces out there. I want to thank Kristen, Felicia. Where are you? Oh, there you are. I want to thank you for the wonderful job that you have done in shepherding me through all the paperwork and everything I needed to do to get over here. I had a wonderful night's sleep and a great salmon dinner last night. Holly, where you got Holly and Paul, thank you guys for hosting me. It has been a wonderful experience. I am thrilled to be back here. And I am excited to share with you the message this morning because it really comes from years and years of my interest in the human mind and thinking. A minister was retiring and was on television a few years back, and he was interviewed, and the announcer asked him, he says, "Well, now that you've been a minister for almost 55 years, he says, what are you going to do?" And he said, "What I want to do." Because in ministry, we spend a lot of time with people, and 24/7, it really is a 24/7 job because you never know when the hospital's going to call or somebody's having a baby, someone's dying. It's just constant. And my wife, Paula, was at the same time I was a minister, she was ministering through her nursing. She was a hospice nurse. And so she would be called out at all hours on calls. And so we were always giving to people. And then I retired. And I said, I don't have to do all the other stuff. What do I want to do? And my favorite thing, the thing that I'd been thrilled about for years, was the human mind. Why we think, what we think, and what does it have to do with God? And that's what I'm going to share with you this morning. The Bible, unity, and even modern neuropsychology talks about it. And it's an essential component to our spiritual development, because you can't think about God without using, guess what? Your mind. You can't feel without using your mind. You have to have a mind. The problem is, sometimes things outside of us get into our head, and the thoughts we have aren't really our own. They've been accepted from the outside, but they're not ours. And you and I are designed to have our own thoughts. And when our thoughts are in alignment, guess what? God's what they focus on. And with God, you can't go wrong. So, I'm going to share with you this morning where we find out about the mind. In first place is the Bible. Believe it or not. First 2 chapters of Genesis. God creates male and female in the first chapter of Genesis. Then in the second chapter, he creates male and then a female. But he creates male and female. And everything that God created was what? Good. It was in order. It was in balance. Perfect. Then we come to the 3rd chapter of Genesis. and there's a disruption in the force. All of a sudden, something happens. Now, some people like to blame Eve. You had to have somebody eat the fruit. What it represents is, for the first time in our minds, something entered besides God. Eve did it out of ego. She did it because it was going to give her power. She was tempted by a serpent, which is a representative symbol of earthly power, not God power. That's all it means. Don't be blaming women for this. That's silly and old-fashioned. It was about the mind, for the first time, being tempted to go outside to the earth, to outside influences. That's all it meant. And when that happened, the disruption in the force occurred, and for the first time, things were no longer perfect. That's all it means. Christian scripture is the same way. If we look at the writing of Luke, the kingdom of God does not come with careful observation. You won't be able to say, there it is, or here it is. For the kingdom of God is where? Within. So we're always looking outside for answers when the answer is really inside, which is what Eve did. She looked to the outside for the answer. She didn't look within. Paul in Romans says, don't conform any longer to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What did Jesus say? Before nothing. Yes, he said something. In Matthew, when he begins his ministry, it says, he began to proclaim, repent. But repent doesn't mean be sorry and beat your breast. He used the word metanoia, which was change your mind, for the kingdom is at hand. And so Old Testament, New Testament emphasizes the mind, but it emphasizes a mind that is focused on the divine, to something higher. What does unity say? What's the second principle? You are divine. You've always been divine. When God created us in God's likeness and image, where in the Bible does it say, okay, you're out of the garden, I'm going to take back my divine image? It doesn't. We've never left. We've still got it, so to speak. And so, unity says you've got that spark of divinity. And how do you align, how do you put it in place? By the activity of your mind. So there we have it. Myrtle Fillmore goes a little further. Now, Myrtle's one of these that's very kind and easygoing. She's very heart-centered. Charles is in his head. But Myrtle is very heart-centered, right? But listen to this. This is a quote from Myrtle Fillmore. You do not have a problem except the one that is in your own mind. And you put it there. Ouch. Old Testament, New Testament, unity. What about modern science, neuroscience? I have studied at least a dozen development models from Abraham Maslow, Frederick Hertzberg, James W. Fowler, you name them, Lawrence Kohlberg, all of them. They all point to a high level. And when you look at that high level, it looks an awful lot like a mystic. Someone who has an extraordinary experience that changes their life forever. There's even a book out now called How Enlightenment Changes Your Brain by two scientists that write for the Centers for Spiritual Living. I get the Science of Mind every month just so I can read their article. And they say that everyone has the potential of reaching that mystical level. You are born with it. Nice, huh? So here's my question. Why aren't we there? I'm not there all the time, for sure. What is it that keeps us from getting back in the garden? The answer is the trolls under the bridge. That's right. You got a bridge, you got a troll. Myrtle saw it. She said, it's your own troll. It's your own wickedness. It's something in there that you've created. What is it? Well, real quick study of the brain, you find out there's about 4 levels of brain. One is this brain stem called the reptilian brain or the primitive brain. I call it the bird brain. But not to somebody's face, you know. I'm trying to think of the woman's name. Karen Armstrong, who wrote the book 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life. Karen Armstrong says there's only 4 functions of that brain, and she calls them the 4 F's: fight, flight, food, and reproduction. Karen can say it, I can't. So, it really is, it's a very basic function brain. It does only 2 things, this or that, black or white, right or wrong. It's dualistic. It's wonderful if there's a real emergency or danger because it will get you out of it because you'll either go into it or run. That's it. But for making higher order decisions, it's very egoic and totally selfish. Always do it for yourself. But fortunately, there's another brain that goes over it called the mammalian. The mammalian brain brings us into social groups, community, others. This is where you got family, school, church community, political parties, social groups, all sorts. And if we use them wisely, it begins to open us up. But if we attach it to the reptilian brain, it's our group versus them, us versus them. We're right, they're wrong. They're bad, we're good. Right? We can't communicate. We can't open up to other groups because it's all about our group. We take that ego right in there and ruin the group. We make the group this or that. But there's another level. When we start getting into the lobes, we start getting into reason. We get into logic. We get into a bigger picture. Again, if we're allowed to open up into that, suddenly there's more answers. There's more possibilities. If it's still connected to that lower part, if it still has control, if the lower part, which we can call a troll, is holding on, we can't get there. And then there's the newest part of the human brain, according to the scientists, called the cerebral cortex, and especially the, what's it called, the prefrontal polar cortex. You don't have to remember that. Don't worry about it. You people out there, don't worry about it. The most remarkable part, because it opens up to others. It's even about others. It sees the big picture and it understands that even other has a point of view. Even other could have something right about what they're saying. Let's talk, let's compromise, let's open up and listen to one another. They have even found a portion of it that is about feeling, I would say, compassionate. To where you are even able to get in the place of the other person and do for them what you wouldn't do for yourself. It's a physical part of the brain. There's where God hasn't left us. There's how we get back into the kingdom. We've got to get to that spot so that we can reconnect with everything. So why not? Well, Because the troll doesn't want you to change. Now, the troll doesn't mind change. And this is Larry speaking. I haven't read this anywhere, but I'm making this up. But I think it's pretty solid. We like change. How many of you would like to drive a better car, live in a better home, have a better education, have a better, right? We want that. What we don't want is to give up what we've got. The troll is all about holding on to something you really don't need, but it keeps you from going forward. The troll is that holding on. And what we have to do is break the hold. And the class and all that I'm going to be doing, that's all it's about, breaking hold. Simple techniques. I can't share all of them because we got core values, we've got temperament, we got practices, but one of them that I like the best, and I think it's fun, is called the Dream Team or the Healing Forest. If you have a dream team and a healing forest, then you have something to help guide you. And if it's guiding you across, guess what? You don't pay as much attention to the troll. It's a way of diminishing the troll's power. Let me give you an example. Dag Hammarskjöld. How many of you, if you're into political science, remember Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the head of the United Nations back in the 50s through the early 60s? He was remarkable. He came through a period of time when the world had just come out of world wars. We had colonization was beginning to fall apart. We had nuclear powers. We had all sorts of arms races. And yet he held the United Nations together. And they said it was through his spirituality and the fact that he could see the big picture. He was able to speak to all the different parts and show them the peace in it. Dag Hammarskjöld didn't do it by himself. Dag Hammarskjöld had a mentor, Meister Eckhart. Now, any of you that know history, you know Meister Eckhart had been dead for about 400 years. A dream team does not have to be a person living today. A dream team is someone who carries very similar, if not the same values that you do or that you aspire to, that you can call on when you need to call on them. And that's what Dag Hammarskjöld did. He had Meister Eckhart. He loved Meister Eckhart and everything that he said and did. He then would call on him, listen to it, and then follow through. Now, I've done the same thing. I've got a dream team. One of my dream team members is Albert Schweitzer. Any of you not know Albert? Albert was a humanitarian, a physician, a gifted musician. In fact, he wrote music when he was in his teens, I think. Albert Schweitzer is my hero. He had a hero, Immanuel Kant and Bach, a musician and a philosopher. I like Albert. I'm less impressed with Kant. I can't even understand Kant. Albert could. So I had Albert. I ended up taking a test one day. It was called the Keirsey Temperament Sorter. And you took it, didn't you? Uh-huh. Temperament Sorter gives you a number of people you can look at and see if you have a similar temperament. I didn't like my score. But did you know I did that? I took it twice because I didn't like what I was getting. Yeah, I fell off the wagon. Come on. So I took it twice, same score. So I turned the pages to see, well, whom I like. And guess who was on the first page of my score? Albert Schweitzer. I was talking to my wife, Paula, one day, and I said, it's very interesting because I said, I think what I'm feeling is that all religions, I don't care what they are, all religions, at their core, the mystic has the key. No matter what it is, if you're at a mystical level, you can have that one-on-one relationship with God. You can have the experience of God and not just think about God. You can experience it. I said, it's mysticism. Shortly afterwards, we got a book by Schweitzer, and I'm going to read to you what Schweitzer wrote and see how the connection starts coming together. If in the last resort, the aim of a worldview is our spiritual unity with infinite being, then the perfect worldview is of necessity, guess what? Mysticism. You start to gel with these great minds. You start to understand them, or they start to understand you. I don't know which way. Or what you do is you pick up on a universal idea that's part of God. And suddenly you see the spectrum. I think that's what it's all about. And that's just one technique you can use, that temperament test, to find your dream team that you can call on whenever you need to. You and I truly believe, are infinite beings. We never lost our divine spark. All the stories in the Bible are about either falling prey to the outside world and letting it carry us, or moving ourselves back inward to divinity. The only thing that keeps us from it are the trolls. But the trolls are of our own making. But they can be handled. They can be managed. You and I have the ability to overcome those trolls. I guarantee you. Whether it's core values, dream teams, think about your core values here in the church. I mean, you say them every Sunday. I just heard you. What was it? Love, connection, and wisdom. Those are high values. And if you stopped every time something came up that you were drawn to that television set or that political point of view, and you said to yourself, let me center myself on love, wisdom, connectedness, not division, and whatever the third one for. Service. Oh, okay. Oh, of course, Larry. Jeez. If you centered yourself on those values before you did anything else, really centered yourself, guess what? You would defeat the troll and find yourself back in the garden. And that's your lesson for today. Thank you.
So if you're looking for a visual on the troll, look in the mirror. Our prayer chaplains are available after this service to provide personal prayer support. If you are a prayer chaplain serving today, please stand. Thank you. Our prayer chaplains wear the lavender stoles. Whether you have a joy or a concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplains is a powerful opportunity to have your intentions raised up in consciousness. Now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature. For your convenience, there are a variety of ways to financially give to this community. In addition to checks and cash, you may download the Give app, use the credit debit card envelopes provided on the clipboard in the back of each chair, or set up bill pay through your bank. Those of you at home may click on the Donate button on the Watch Live page. I invite you to take your tithe or offering in your hand and repeat our affirmation with me. Together, divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Every day and night, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and night, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and night, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
And that's the way to send a service. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I'm sorry I'm not going to stand in the middle, but I need to be at the microphone, so we'll pretend. As we bless this offering, we bless the giver and the gift, that it may go forth and increase the good in our lives and the lives that we touch. Together, we give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now. Thank you.
We are a circle of love. We are a circle of light. Come join the circle of love. Come join the circle of light. The light in you and the light in me are one. The light in you. The light in you and the light in me are one.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. So if you were here or you tuned in last week, we were telling you about learning about the magical beans that we all have, the yets. Do you remember that? We all have these yets, and they're things that we haven't learned how to do yet, or we've never done yet. And today we want to introduce you to another creature called the
What ifs?
The what ifs. Anybody have some what ifs? Someone want to talk about the what ifs? Tell them what they are? Or should I? Give me an example of a bad what if, or a possibly negative what if. You had a good one, Millie.
If a cat runs away.
What if my cat runs away? What would be a good what if, though?
What if you get cake for dessert?
What if, yeah. What if there's chocolate cake after church today? Right? So we were talking about our what ifs. We all have what ifs, and it just depends on what kind of what ifs you're paying attention to, right? And so when we pay attention to those good what ifs, they multiply, and there's no room for the bad what ifs. So we invite you to give some attention to your good what ifs today, okay? What if there's cake? What if it turns out better than you thought it would, right? All right, thanks everyone.
Okay. Let's bless our children and teachers together. Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. Are you there? I just didn't want to back up into anybody. Please join me in our prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And now our peace song. Those wearing masks are free to sing with us. Others may want to mouth the words or hum along.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God ever present, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
You are the light, the love, the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine, have fun, and spread joy.